Okay, so this is going to be short assignment number 4. I'm going to do question number 1, which is in the movie Revolutionary Road, whose perspective, Frank or April, was more convincing? And I'm going to argue that Frank's was the more convincing argument. And I'm going to say that solely because he was the most, I believe, level headed out of all of them. April is a dreamer. She's very much the I don't like the life I'm living, and I would rather take a leap of faith and try and fulfill my dream than stay where she was and what she believed was unhappy, versus how I look at him as he's working a job, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing, what society is telling him. If I remember correctly, when you did the film class, this movie fell under the category of society stifling individuality, and I 100% agree with that with this movie. The whole movie's based around the fact that they're not supposed to be happy with what society tells them. They get a little house, they have a family, nice place to go. He's got a steady job, she stays at home. That's the typical American dream right there in a nutshell. And she was not comfortable with that. And he wasn't either, but he also wasn't to the point where he'd rather drop it all and start something new. She was willing to drop everything she had and go, and that doesn't buy into me. I'm very much the what I like to call a realist. You know, I'm gonna look at all the things that go on there, and not simply she can go, well, I think we should move to Paris, and I'll get a job, and they pay secretaries really good money over there, so you don't have to do anything. You can just sit there on your ass and do absolutely nothing and do whatever you want to do. Um, that doesn't cut it for me because where I'm at right now, I have a job. I'm making enough money to support my family, which is my first priority. Should be your first priority anyway. And Frank seemed to be doing that for a while, and then she kind of convinced him a little bit that go with it. It's okay. Trust me on this. When I think it started to tip back from oh, I'm not so happy with each other to okay, we can try and be happy and go back to what it was when I met you, kind of thing. And then he got offered, a big boy job with some serious money, and the guy sold him on the fact that you get one chance in your life, and this is something worthwhile. And at that time point where he was being offered, he was being talked about computers. Computers was a big thing. So I mean, if you were going to be one of the guys who was helping to get that off the ground, that could be a huge profit for you, not only for your personal goal and accomplishment, but how much money you can make too. And she just didn't want anything about that. Um, Now, one could say though that she is the right person because she's being true to herself. She's the one who's following her dreams and her passions. Um, I would counter that argument with saying, show me the numbers of people who follow their dreams and fail versus the people who stick to what they know best and what they're doing and live a comfortable life. I would much rather grind my way through something that, while I may not like it, I'm making good money and I'm doing my thing, and I'm supporting my family, versus taking a shot in the dark and possibly failing and living on the streets in a country where I don't know anything about it. That's not very pragmatic to me in my own views. So I absolutely 100% go with Frank here. He was right when he got offered the big job to start saying, I'm going to take it. Um, there were a couple other scenes in the movie where I believe he was right. The one scene where he was telling April that he had cheated on her. I think he was right in doing that because I believe at that moment in time, finding out that he was going to have another child, everything that was going on, he was thinking about the risk versus the reward, and the risk was outweighing the reward there for him. So he wanted to stay home, and I think that's why he told her that he was okay. And that's why he said, we can always build a life here and we can always go travel. He was definitely the more realistic one there because she didn't give any notion of, well, if we get there and we don't like it, we'll come back and we'll resume life and I will never ask for anything like that again. She was just like, we're going to go. We're going to do this, and this is how we're going to do it. Made it sound too good to be true, like a really bad car salesman in my idea. So, yeah, she was not the convincing one there. And at the very end of the movie, you see it all fall apart. She puts on this attempt for herself, maybe Frank in a way, to go, I'm going to give this one last shot before, I really make up my mind. Now, things have been going bad at that point for them, and she had decided she's going to make a breakfast and going to try and be a normal couple and try and see if maybe she could find some kind of liking to the housewife thing. And you see at the very end, she couldn't take it. She then self-aborted the baby, and she ended up dying and leaving Frank to fend for himself and the kids. Taking a very selfish way about looking and going, because, I'm not fulfilling my own life's passions. I'm not going to do it. And therefore she leaves him with a whole bunch of burdens that now, on top of not liking his job, he's got to support kids on his own now. So you got to do everything that she was doing on top of what he's doing. So he's absolutely in the right there.